Hey guys, it's Declan, and today with the help of my friend Andrew, he'll be our model, I'm going to be showing you how to take great photos anywhere. Whether it's in a great location or a bad one, hopefully these tips and tricks will help you shoot better photos. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
Alright, the first thing you're going to do is appropriately set your camera settings to match the environment you're shooting in. A good rule of thumb for outdoor locations is to set your ISO as low as possible. On my camera, the Canon EOS Rebel T5, the ISO can only go down to about 100. For aperture, also stay as low as you can. On my 18 to 55mm lens that I'm recording on right now, it can go down to an f-stop of 3.5. I usually set my shutter speed to around 1/60. It's just a nice baseline that I've come to find over the years. Side note, if you want to capture something in motion, set your shutter speed to something much higher, such as 1/1000. You might have to up your ISO a bit, but it doesn't matter too much as long as you can keep your aperture as low as possible. For indoors, everything can stay the same, with the only exception being upping your ISO to 400 or so. Alright, now that we've got our settings all sorted out, let's talk about composition. Composition is by far the most important part of photography. It can make or break your photos. It's also a good indicator for showing who is a beginner and who is not. You see, when a beginner grabs a camera and tries to take a photo, they'll usually take the photo from head level and the shot's centered and it lacks a lot of depth. My advice? The rule of thirds. A quick explanation of the rule of thirds is this. The screen gets split into a tic-tac-toe-like grid, and you want to place your subject onto one of the intersecting lines. You'll see how this works more throughout the video. Another way to create a better looking photo is by creating depth. One simple way to do this is by making sure your subject is far away from the background. By scooting them up just a few feet, you can see how much more pleasing to the eye the image becomes.
Now that we're armed with some basic knowledge, I'll give you some more tips later. Let's go shoot some photos. So now we're back at the wall we were at before, but this time I wanted to pose Andrew differently. That's much better. For this shot, there isn't going to be much depth because he's right on the wall, which is actually fine by me. However, I am going to be using the rule of thirds to spice up the shot. So keep that in mind for your own photos. You do not have to use both. One or the other is fine. All right, so Andrew, I like that. I want you actually more over here, if that's possible. Yeah, that's good right there. So I want to get you on a third. Our next location has some interesting qualities. By shooting through these bars, we can create a lot of depth. Having a foreground element really spices up a photo. It might take a bit of work, but it's well worth it. All right, so, ooh, that's nice. Maybe we'll get a nice little portrait. Now we're at the main courtyard of our school. The reason I chose this location is for the leading lines in the background from all the pillars and the bricks on the floor. This gives a lot of interest to the photo. For this shot, I'm going to be using a water bottle. It'll add a nice foreground element, as you can see, connecting dots. Not only that, it also creates a really cool reflection. Let's go shoot this. Let's go a bit wide. Do we want a Dutch angle? For our next location, we'll be shooting stairs. Stairs are my favorite. The reason why? Leading lines. The leading lines from the rails and just the stairs going up is super cool. Love it. Stairs are my favorite. Let's go shoot some banger shots. For our final location, we're going to be putting our skills to the test. Welcome to the bathroom.
Alright, I think that's going to wrap up this tutorial, but before we go, let's quickly recap what we've learned. Number 1. Settings. Choosing the right camera settings is vital to creating a nice image. Number 2. composition. Composition is the most important part of photography. By using the rule of thirds and creating depth, you can artfully compose a shot. Number 3, foreground elements. Foreground elements add so much more to a photo. Lastly, get creative. Use props, find reflections, take shots from weird angles, try everything. It doesn't matter if it comes out good or not. The point is to discover new things and to get out of your comfort zone, because that's the way true art is made.